I'm Vanessa.
Standing in the office that was once my father's, overlooking the bustling streets of New York, I'm reminded of how far I've come. The room is filled with memories, both good and bad, but it's the truth that has brought me here. A truth that was once buried beneath layers of family secrets and lies. My father, Dr. Henry Thompson, was a well-known cardiologist in the city. His name was synonymous with excellence in the medical field. When he passed away, his estate was a significant one, worth millions, not to mention his medical company, Thompson Medical Innovations. I remember sitting in Mr. Harris's office, just as I'm sitting in this one now. Mr. Harris was my father's attorney, a man with a no-nonsense attitude and a penchant for precision. My mother, Mrs. Grace Thompson, sat beside me, her designer suit and diamond jewelry a stark contrast to my simple outfit. My stepsister, Lily, was there too, her Instagram-worthy presence a constant reminder of how different our lives had been. Mr. Harris cleared his throat and began to read the will. Mrs. Thompson, as per the will, you will receive the family mansion and the investment portfolio established in 2005. Lily, the beach house in Hamptons, and the trust fund set up on your 25th birthday are yours. I sat there, my heart pounding, waiting for my turn. Vanessa, he said, looking up at me with a slight hesitation, your father has left you the controlling interest in Thompson Medical Innovations and the majority of his liquid assets. However, there's a condition. You must undergo a DNA test to confirm paternity. The words hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt a wave of humiliation wash over me. My mother's concerned voice rang in my ears, but I could tell it was more for show. Lily squeezed my hand, but it was a mockery of comfort. Poor Van, she murmured. Dad always had a strange sense of humor. I remembered all the times I'd tried to please my father. I'd excelled in school, earned a degree in history, and worked hard at the university archives where I was employed. But it had never seemed to be enough for him. He'd always been more focused on Lily, who was the social media darling of the family. Without the DNA test, the inheritance would go to my mother and Lily, along with some bequests to medical charities. The stakes were clear. It wasn't just about the money. It was about my father's final rejection, a confirmation of the feeling of not belonging that I'd had my whole life. That's when my friend, Sarah, who worked with me at the archives, stepped in. She was a breath of fresh air in the midst of all the family drama. She didn't care about the money or the status. She cared about the truth. With her help, I decided to take on the challenge. We delved into the university's medical archives. There, we found some old journals that my father had kept. In them, I discovered that he'd had trust issues throughout his marriage. He'd suspected my mother of an affair with a visiting French surgeon, Dr. Pierre Dubois, who had been at the hospital around the time Lily and I were born. I started to piece together the timeline.
Dr.
Dubois had arrived in New York in 1998. Lily was born in 1999, and I was born in 2000. The dates were too close to be a coincidence. I also found old photographs of my mother and Dr. Dubois at hospital events, their body language suggesting a deeper connection. I knew I had to show Lily. I texted her, saying I'd found important documents related to the will. When she came to the archives, her initial arrogance quickly faded as she read through the journals and saw the photographs. This is absurd, she said, but her trembling hands betrayed her. I told her I was going to take the DNA test the next day and asked if she was ready for what it might reveal. The power dynamic between us shifted completely. For years, she'd been the favored one, but now she was the one facing the unknown. The DNA test process was nerve-wracking. First, the initial results were inconclusive, which sent a wave of fear through me. I worried that my father had somehow sabotaged the test to prolong the humiliation. But I was determined. I scheduled a second test with a more prestigious company, paying a premium for faster results. In the meantime, Lily and my mother tried to fight back. They contacted the press, trying to spin the story in their favor. Lily's Instagram posts were filled with tales of family betrayal and psychological abuse. But I had evidence on my side. Sarah and I gathered more and more documents, creating a comprehensive timeline and a dossier of proof. When the final results came in, I was both relieved and shocked. I was my father's biological daughter, but Lily was not. The truth that my father had suspected for so long was finally out. At Mr. Harris's office, I presented all the evidence. My mother's perfect composure cracked as she read the DNA reports. Lily's social media persona crumbled before our eyes. She lashed out, blaming me for ruining her life. But I knew I was just uncovering the truth. My mother finally confessed that she'd had a brief affair with Dr. Du Bois during a difficult time in her marriage. It was a moment of raw honesty in a family that had been built on lies. According to the will, I was the sole heir to Thompson Medical Innovations. But as I watched Lily's world fall apart, I realized that revenge wasn't what I wanted. I decided to establish a trust for Lily and my mother. It was a moral obligation, and I wanted to show that family was more than just blood. A year later, I'm running Thompson Medical Innovations with confidence. The company has thrived under my leadership. Lily has moved to California, trying to reinvent herself. My relationship with my mother is still a work in progress, but we're slowly starting to have more open conversations. I stand at my father's grave, placing a bouquet of white lilies on the headstone. "You thought this would destroy us," I whisper. "But it gave us a chance to build something real." The Clark Family Foundation, now renamed the Thompson Family Foundation, is about to launch. Its mission is to support children separated from their biological parents. It's a symbol of the new beginning that our family is finally having. I've learned that the most precious inheritance isn't the money or the company. It's the freedom to define family on my own terms.